Hello and welcome to TVB News. Chief Executive John Lee met with President Xi Jinping this afternoon during his duty visit to Beijing. The president praised Lee for his determination to protect national security. Premier Li Qiang also attended the same meeting, marking a historic first for a chief executive to meet with the top two mainland leaders on such an occasion. Timothy Lee has our top story.
On his second duty visit to the capital, Chief Executive John Lee made his way to Zhongnanhai High to meet with state leaders this afternoon. Sitting at the center, President Xi Jinping was flanked by Premier Li Qiang, who sat across John Lee. The president lauded Lee for ensuring national security over the past year's chief executive and the smooth process of the latest district council election. He added that Lee successfully led the city out of the pandemic and brought about the SAR's economic recovery. President Xi also emphasized that Beijing will continue to uphold the one country, two systems principle and maintain Hong Kong's capitalist system and way of life. Chief Executive John Lee thanked the president and the central government for their guidance and support for Hong Kong. He noted peace and stability were restored to the city over the past year. He added the government has put in place district governance by patriots following the recent district council election. Also attending the meeting were Secretary of the Secretariat of the Chinese Communist Party Tai Chi, Vice Premier Ding Xuexiang, and Hong Kong and Macau Affairs Office Director Xia Baolong. Lee will also visit the Hong Kong and Macau Work Office and other central government committee offices on his current trip to the capital city before returning to the SAR on Wednesday afternoon. Timothy Lee, TVB News.
The national security trial involving Next Digital founder Jimmy Lai, which has attracted international attention, began today. The media tycoon's lawyer presented his case first on the legal contention over the prosecution time limit in relation to Lai's sedition charge. The entire trial is expected to last around 80 days. Jackie Lin was at the court today.
Already jailed for other convictions, media mogul Jimmy Lai was taken from the Lai Chi Kok Correctional Facility to court today. That's for the national security trial that was twice postponed and delayed for nearly 1 year. Lai's wife Teresa Lai, younger son and daughter, as well as former pro-democracy legislator Emily Lau and retired Catholic leader Joseph Zen also arrived at the courthouse. Donning a gray suit jacket and a blue shirt, Lai looked slightly slimmer than before. When led to the dock, Lai smiled and waved towards a public gallery. As the trial proceeded in English, Lai listened to the simultaneous interpretation via headphones. Despite being a high court case, the trial was held at the West Kalu Magistracy for its larger rooms before 3 designated national security judges. Lai faces a total of 3 charges. 2 are national security related. They include alleged conspiracy to collude with foreign forces to sanction or engage in other acts of hostility against Hong Kong and the central authorities. But the spotlight today was on another charge under the crimes ordinance over Lai's alleged conspiracy to publish seditious publications. Lai and 3 Apple Daily companies were said to have published their first seditious article on April 1, 2019, with more such publications till June 24, 2021. The defendant side said under the ordinance, prosecution could be made only within 6 months after the suspected offense occurred. As the first official charge was laid 4 days beyond the 6-month legal time frame, the defendant's lawyers said the prosecution could choose to bring suit against Lai over other charges without a legal time limit. On that, Judge Alex Lee questioned if that would mean the court could let offenders off the hook if their crimes are committed beyond the 6-month limit. The trial will continue Tuesday, with the prosecution presenting its case on the time frame of Lai's sedition charge. As a high-profile trial was underway, equally high-profile were the security arrangements. With a saber-toothed tiger armored vehicle, gun-toting officers, and bomb-sniffing dogs deployed to the area. The police's National Security Department Director Kelvin Kong and Chief Superintendent Steve Lee Kwai-wah also inspected the site. An elderly woman petitioned waving the Union Jack. While only 70 seats were available in the main courtroom's public gallery, public to observe the proceedings live, the judiciary set aside around 400 more seats with live broadcasts of the trial. The European Union office and consulates in Hong Kong, including the UK, US, Australia, Switzerland, Canada, and the UK, also sent representatives to observe the trial. As you can see behind me, police have devoted a lot of resources to step up security around the West Kowloon Magistracy as Jimmy Lai's trial began. Apart from heavy police presence across the entrances, there are a lot of police cars circling around the premises with sniffer dogs and dozens of officers trying to take turns to patrol and stand guard around the courthouse. Jackie Lin, TVB News.
Today is the first working day since the implementation of time-varying tolls at the city's 3 road harbor crossings. The flow of traffic was mostly smooth at the 3 tunnels. Timothy Lee reports.
Entering into the first working day since the start of the new charging system, tolls at the 3 road harbor crossings transitioned from the off-peak to peak time slot at 7:30 this morning. The toll for private cars went up in increments of $2 every 2 minutes, rising from $20 to $40 at the Cross Harbor Tunnel and the Eastern Harbor Crossing at 7:48 a.m. The toll at the Western Harbor Crossing, meanwhile, increased to $60 at 8:08 a.m. Bus passengers who queued at the Cross Harbor Tunnel entrance noted the traffic flow was smoother than before. Some motorists think it will take several days before any noticeable change can be observed. Under the new measure, the flow of traffic at the Cross Harbor Tunnel at around 8:30 a.m. was much smoother compared with last week, when vehicles lined up all the way to the Hong Kong Metropolitan University. And there was also traffic flow improvement at the Eastern Harbor Crossing. The queue was shorter than last week when it extended to Lam Tin. But traffic was heavier at the Western Harbor Crossing, which did not experience any traffic jam in the previous week. Tolls at the 3 road harbor crossings gradually decreased after the peak time slot ended at 10:15 a.m. Earlier today, Secretary for Transport and Logistics Lam Sai-hung went to the Western Harbor Crossing to get a first-hand look at the traffic situation. On the toll increase from $10 to $50 for red minibuses traveling through the Cross Harbor Tunnel and the subsequent fare increase for passengers, Lam said applying a fixed toll of $50 for all commercial vehicles except taxis would be suitable. He believes relevant sectors will adjust the fares flexibly. Some motorists and even a legislator said they were overcharged for the Cross Harbor tolls at the Western Harbor Crossing. Lawmaker Gary Zhang posted about the incidents on social media and has approached transport authorities to inquire about the situation. Timothy Lee, TVB News.
The government has updated the Civil Service Code. Some lawmakers have voiced concerns on how the update may affect Hong Kong Civil Servants General Union's ability to seek changes to salaries and workers' benefits. Secretary for the Civil Service Ingrid Yeung stressed she does not believe it will affect the union in any way. Under the update, the Civil Service Code maintains politically neutral wording, but mandates civil servants must not be involved in activities or groups hindering the work of the SAR government. Several lawmakers, including Chow Su-chung from the Labour constituency, questioned whether the right for civil servants to go on strike or protest could be infringed by the updated code. This, as the Civil Service Secretary emphasized, such actions are accepted as long as they are permitted under the trade union's ordinance. Britain's national power grid is removing components supplied by China-backed Nari technology from the network over cybersecurity fears, the Financial Times reports. The utility sought advice from the National Cybersecurity Center, according to the article, which quoted a government official. The FT reported that an employee at the Nari subsidiary, NR Electric UK, told the paper that the company no longer had access to work sites. The group was not given a reason why contracts were terminated. The components helped to regulate the electricity system to prevent blackouts. The national grid declined to comment. Joe Biden was unharmed but briefly distracted as a car crashed into an SUV that was guarding the U.S. president.
Trump in the polls!
Biden was leaving his campaign headquarters in Delaware when he was stopped in his tracks. A car could be heard in the background as the president's security detail ushered away the 81-year-old. Journalists covering the president quickly turned their cameras in the other direction. The silver sedan tried to continue into a closed-off intersection. It suffered damage to its bumpers. The Secret Service surrounded the vehicle, pulling weapons. They instructed the driver to put his hands up, which he did. The man did not know the president was there. The Secret Service said the crash was an accident and no one was hurt. Pope Francis on Sunday condemned the killing of a mother and her daughter in a Catholic church in Gaza, where he said unarmed civilians were targeted by shelling and gunfire. The pontiff was speaking from the window of his studio to the thousands of faithful gathered in St. Peter's Square. He identified the women as Nahida Khalil Anton and her daughter Samar Kamal Anton, who were killed by snipers as they went to the bathroom. He suggested that Israel was using terrorism tactics in Gaza after a statement from the Catholic Authority in the Holy Land Church said 7 other people were shot and wounded as they tried to protect others. Some would say it is war, it is terrorism. Yes, it is war, it is terrorism, Pope Francis said. The Israeli Foreign Ministry said it was investigating the incident. Delegates from Russia's ruling party unanimously backed President Vladimir Putin's bid for re-election to a party conference in Moscow on Sunday. The move came just a day after the Kremlin leader's supporters formally nominated him to run in the 2024 presidential election as an independent. Dmitry Medvedev, United Russia's chairman and a former Russian president and prime minister, called on fellow party members to support Putin ahead of the vote scheduled for March 15th to 17th. Putin's re-election is expected to be a formality. He has been in power either as president or prime minister for more than 2 decades. The nomination by a group of at least 500 supporters is mandatory under Russian election law for those not running on a party ticket. Independent candidates also need to gather signatures from at least 300,000 supporters in 40 or more Russian regions. The Environmental Protection Department began a 2-month public consultation on the latest amendments to the Noise Control Ordinance. That's over the control of noise from domestic renovations. After consulting with trade workers, the department put forward 2 proposed changes for the use and operation time of percussive tools. They include allowing the use of percussive breakers with a weight of 10 kilograms or below for a maximum of 8 workdays. That replaced the originally proposed periods of 5 consecutive workdays. The second phase of the opening up of Chateau Coq, which is near the border with the mainland, will begin on January 1st. Applications for its closed area permits have begun today. With the permits, tourists and visitors can tour around new attractions in the second phase of opening up. They include the Chongying Street Garden and the Fish Lantern Square. A daily quota of 1,000 permits will be available on the police's online platform. 700 are allocated to tour group visitors, and the rest are for individual tourists. No application fee is required. That's the news. Thanks for watching. Pearl Magazine is up shortly. Bye for now.